Hello, everyone. Wow. I'm Sue Frank, but my mother's here, so you can call me Susan. I just want to say thank you so much for welcoming me. Everybody's been so wonderful. Thank you, Pastor Brennan. And I also want to start by saying thank you for being such a wonderful foundation and spiritual community for my mother and her home away from home. As you know, I worked in Haiti, most of you know, and I have a school called Jakmel Expresyon. It's a continuing education school. Let me go ahead and change the slide. So who are we? First of all, I went in 2007 for a big concert on the beach, and I'm a sculptor. I worked at the School of the Arts in Chicago for 10 years and mentored other young artists. And so when I went to Haiti, I started meeting a lot of artists and sculptors and video makers and found a really beautiful artistic community in Jakmel, which is the cultural and artistic capital of Haiti. I went during the earthquake and unfortunately lost my best friend, who was the director of an arts organization. And what he had done is he had seen a lot of discrimination. And so he had opened up that art center as a space for all people. For 3 days after the earthquake, a lot of people from the art center started pushing out a lot of the marginalized community. So me and my friends got together and said, well, there's this need, there's this gap we need to fill. Why don't we start an art center that's based in non-discrimination? So you can see we are non-discrimination, we are based in the Haitian culture, we are about critical thinking, we have creativity in our hearts, right? But also a lot of times when you have NGOs or nonprofit, it's very top-down based, and we are very bottom up. And this keeps us based in Haitian culture, but it also helps us to elevate the local Haitian voice when most of the time it's bourgeois or the upper class or the internationals that really hold that voice. So we started out as a small little center. You can see the orange right in here. That's the town of Jakmel. It has about 60,000 people in it. Right now, we've become so popular that we actually service everything in the green area. So we have students coming from an hour away to come to Jakmel Expresyon or JE. Go ahead. This is the town of Jakmel. And so for that reason, an economic reason, we have to be centered in the middle of Jakmel, right? So that our students only have to take one form of transportation and not spend extra money, right? So that we really can service that whole community. And our programming, I'm going to start with saying our programming, but it's really our structure. Again, we're bottom up. And me, I'm not Haitian. I don't have that culture. I don't have that life. And so being friends with Haitians first really taught me like, I'm going to need to lean on now. And more than that, I'm going to need to follow them. And so every time we make a new class, any kind of programming, I talk with the students, I talk with the staff to see what's actually needed so that I'm not making American decisions, but that Haitian decisions are made. And it's grown in a way that my assistant director has been with me since he was 15 years old. He's 28 now, and he's an assistant director, and we make all decisions, large and small, together. My assistant administrator, Candio, has been with us for 6 years, and he volunteered for 5 of those 6 years and helps us. So really, these guys are telling me what they need, and I go out and find the resources, right? Because the structure of nonprofits hasn't really worked for Haiti. And so we're looking for something a little bit more sustainable. Not only that, our programming, and the reason why I'm talking about our structure under programming is our students define the classes. They tell me what they need. They go out and find the teachers. They go out, we don't do marketing. They go out and find other students to come. because they really enjoy the space. And what this means is they are so invested in our programming, and the community and atmosphere that creates is filled with laughter and happiness and a lot of motivation, right? So we've really created this school, continuing education school, that's a lot different than other schools. And we do, but first we started as an art center, right? And you can see we do video, we do photography, we do theater and dance, painting, drawing. We do digital music production, screen printing, a lot of different things, right? And especially with screen printing, we're looking every time we decide what we need. Again, the students are saying, what don't we have? Right? And what kind of gaps do we need to fill? And like with screen printing, all the businesses had to go to order prints to go get their t-shirts, just for t-shirts. So we made that. You can throw a stone and get a screen printer. That is a whole economy, and that is because of Jakmel and Expresyon. So we also identified our members and leadership identified technology. So in the schools, they teach computer classes, but they have no energy to run their computers. And so they only teach theory without actually using a computer, right? So we opened up and mixing that creativity in their digital music production, the video editing. But we've also done robotics. That's a Lego robotics workshop up there in the corner. We've done coding. We've done social data mapping, right? And a lot of times we mix this with science, and they are the students are very into the environment, pollution, deforestation, and fighting that. And so they're picking those themes to move forward with in those classes. And I would say in technology and some of these, it's really awesome. The students come back to me and say, you know what, so I can't find a class like this anywhere in Haiti. Right? Not in the universities, not in the organizations, nowhere, especially for social data mapping, data collection and analysis and visualization, which really helps their university work, their professional work, their ability to get grants on their own instead of us as internationals getting grants for them. And we also saw the same thing in science. The students are learning theory, but not practice. So one great example is photography and environment. They learn climate change, right? They learn about deforestation, all these environmental problems that they want to find local solutions for. And then they learn how to use a camera. And we actually went down to the water sources with the students. They took water and tested it for, they had 26 different tests to see exactly what was in their water, and took pictures of the life around the water. And then they created an exhibition and shared their knowledge with their community, right? So we're putting more and more science in there and really becoming, this is how we kind of passing up arts and becoming STEAM education, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Creating jobs is huge, and creating jobs with non-discrimination. You can see our tiling class up here is pretty much almost all women, right? Which is kind of unheard of. But we have electrical installation, we have sewing, which they learn in the end. By the time they're done, they know how to make a three-piece suit from measurement, right? So, and then we also have, did I say plumbing in there? And we've done workshops in solar, and things like that. And so I think one of the really big things that we do that's a lot different than a lot of other educational systems is that, okay, we have students learning one thing, learning another thing, we have social spaces. Not only do we have students that return and just hang out in that environment. They want to be surrounded by that community of intelligentsia, right, and motivation. And what happened is, you can see the one guy here pointing at us, his name is Kade, right? And he's taken a lot of different classes, and he's also just a member and provides feedback. He started a ecological charcoal business, right? Using coconut husk as charcoal instead of cutting down trees. And he used the space to have his meetings with his group to create, he used our computers to create his proposal to get a grant. He got a $20,000 grant. And so really the resources are there for that, where those students take their knowledge that they're learning, get together, start talking and start creating and innovating for their local and becoming the change makers in their local community. And we all know that Haiti's a little crazy sometimes. We got political lockdown and we got hit with COVID. And so we don't stop. Those are really, really awesome times to test our knowledge, right? And so we got 1,050 solar panels. We've put 900 out into the community. These are 3 of our sewing students that we supported to start their own business and have energy for their sewing machines. We found every single computer lab in town that we could find and gave those schools and institutions solar panels so you can start using them. We did agricultural projects and clinics, co-ops, cultural centers, libraries, everything. So really supporting the community, and all of our robotics students helped us put together and assemble those and identify organizations that need these solar panels. We also, because COVID hit, we also found that as a chance to say, what are we doing in the community here? And so our screen printers made posters, our sewing students made over 2,000 masks for the community. And then our members created 18 health brigades that got trained by a local doctor to go out and teach their communities about COVID and COVID prevention. We did reforestation, put out 500 trees into the community. So this has made us really popular. And we found that we were outgrowing our spaces. So we partnered with another local organization that's been around for 36 years and secured a quarter-acre of land and have just started on a campus project. Before, in a rental house, we were able to serve 180 students per session. Once we finish this campus, we'll be able to serve around 380 plus our membership that return to make their own products with that. And here's where we're at. We just finished the concrete, and as we're speaking, they're busy doing the plumbing and the electrical and getting that ready to be a fully functioning building. It may not look pretty right now when we start, but we are moving forward. And then you can see that up here is Peterson, who's been with me since he was 15. And then Daniel, who's been with me since he was 17, and he's running the project for us, right? And so I think really, this is my screen printing class. And really, I think the important thing that we do here is we are creating leadership. Not we, I mean, as a community, as a partner, as international, partnering with local youth to enable them to get the practice that they need at a younger age so that they are developing leadership skills and being the change makers in their own communities instead of internationals coming in and doing that for them, right? And that's just so much more sustainable. You can see what an amazing community that we have. And so that is Jakmel Expresyon. And thank you so much for listening. And we do have little flyers on the back table, right over here, that you can check out our website. We have a private Facebook page, and that's because of political instability and kidnapping. For me and my staff, that we keep all that fundraising and things like that private, but we invite you to join our Facebook page group and learn more. So I think I can take just a couple of questions if anybody has questions.
What's the primary source of income to support this work?
It is private donations, and then we do have a partnership with College in upstate New York and the University of Cincinnati STEAM Research Department. And so like when we start a new program like social data mapping, we can do a grant, get a grant through the University of Cincinnati for that. And then we provide our data research so that we co-author papers to affect the educational system here. You know, so, and especially student participatory education, so.
One of the things you talked about, the bottom up instead of top down management style. I think that's so crucial. And frankly, I think there's so many like good-hearted but ineffective nonprofits in the United States that are not able to get their heads around that. Have you had an opportunity to share your success with other nonprofits in other places about the importance of talking to the impacted community?
So the very first academic paper that we published was about how to engage in communities as outsiders. And how to, because the researchers kept on being like, Sue, what are you gonna do? Sue, what are you gonna do? And I said, it's not about me. It's not about me. I will go and ask the members who are creating this photo environment class for us what their goals are, what their outcomes are, and really refusing to answer a lot of questions, you know, and really relying on our membership and our students to provide those answers for us. The other thing that we do is, which I think is really crucial, I'm just going to give you an example. I have this amazing student, her name is Linda, and she was way back in the mountain. And one day she came with 3 students from a music school, and they said, well, we need t-shirts for our music school. Sue, can we do that? I said, oh yeah, no problem. Go use all of everything that we have. But I want you to work with Candy over here. He's going to teach you everything. You got to ask him first if he's willing to do that. And if you are, do it, organize it. I don't want to touch it. It's all you. By the end of the day, the school had t-shirts. They learned how to screen print. They learned how to use a little bit of Illustrator to do their design. And they came back into my office and said, you know, so we don't know what we're getting into because this is a nonprofit, and you know how that goes in Haiti. And but everybody was so welcoming. Everybody was so free with their knowledge, and we learned so much. And this is such a happy environment, and we just wanted to say thank you so much. And that's our side. Yes.
So, it's not a question that has a vision for me.
Oh, bonsoir, comment il est?
I would not say silence, not say anything. I feel so grateful to be for me. You sent me to me a couple weeks ago. Just back for me, everything is about 50, but it's really teaching as a youth, young people where you have the people with disability, it's treated, they have so much happens with them. And I think that for you, and we can put you, protect you over there, because I went there and I don't even go to where I'm from. I still feel like a big safe, and my family, the rest of my family, they have so many violence there. They don't even know if I'm a lady. It's not my business because I cannot go where I'm from. Because they are from the North Korea, what happened right now, the 2 guns been fighting over there. That's the place I'm from. And I pay my ticket but I can get there. I was saying, petrol bill, I can go to that. And because of so much violence. And I praise God for you here. And thank you for mom said to me last time I was here, said my brother Phoebe and Sunday first she should be here and you better come. And so happy and happy, I don't know. That's my stuff. And you seem to all of things God's put in your heart to do for Haitian people, especially for the issue.
I'm just going to take a moment I'm sorry, nobody else this is for you. Anche non che assolutamente non che ti non che viene cura a motivation per le reality sinapsi potenziale un caffè di bocca là ok parce que le monde qui peut pension qui pas fait le travail mais m'a way to cura non étudiant moins qui a fait IT donc merci pour venir là. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question about, so you started this because you were there, because you saw the need, because art was important to you, and it's expanding. Is this something that you can imagine expanding to other cities or towns?
I've been asked that a lot, and I've been asked by patients to visit Hattian or Germany or other places. I will remind you that this is the expression of Jakmel. This is expression of Jakmel, and I've really worked with the youth for years and years on end to help raise them up, give them the skills that they need to be doing their own work. And it takes that deep investment of time. So to take that and replicate that, if I took that to Hattian, it would have to be Hattian expressing and be based in the culture of Hattian and develop those who are there. So right now, it's Jakmel, and that may need a whole nother thing. We can't replicate. But we will have programming. We're working on building a coding program to develop professional skill sets in website design, application, app design, things like that, so that we can get Haitians jobs without having to get visas, right? And I expect that we'll have people coming in from other parts of Haiti for programs like that in the future. So that may be the way to do that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for welcoming me and coming and listening.